Good morning, children. How are you? Today we are discussing about reading and analysis of maps. Reading and analysis of maps. Map in previous classes like sixth class, seventh class. Sixth class we are reading about reading and making maps. Reading and making maps. Example of that like make that like a classroom and like a school and like a the sketch of that like a school or route map also there. In seventh class we are reading on different kinds of maps. In this class we are discussed about reading along with that analysis of maps. Thoroughly we are discussed each and everything in map. Each and everything we are the learning like a map also, right? So map have that like a long history, right? Today we see that like a yes, maps also, right? Example of that like a yes, this is the world map. This is that like a yes photograph. This is the photograph and this is the map. So here there is a long history. Differences. For example, like a photo and a map. Is two or that like a same there? Is that like a photograph or that like a map or that the features are that like a same? And now that photo is the different to that like a map. Map is that like a different to that photograph there. So here the photograph here that to see that like a someone some features like a map also that like a we see there some features. So here we find out that like a some differences between photograph and map. Map does not show any real features. Map map introduction. Map does not show any any real features. Real features. Example of that, we are not find it like a uh, what is that like a people also, or that like a trees also, and uh, these are the example people, people, and people, rain, people, trees, trees, etc. There. So that like a map is used by geographer to show that like a feature that we consider that like a important. So what is that like a map makers? What they are that like a mentioned in the features. That's only we are find out that like in map pointing. Geographers who are that like a made that like a map makers. What they are considered that like the important features in map day. For example, that like a distribution of rainfall. Some have said distribution, distribution, distribution. of rainfall, distribution of rainfall, soil type, soil type, other the forest also right, forests. Okay, so rainfall, soil type, population, and people people spoke in the different languages. People people spoken different different languages language different languages. The who are the making that like the maps also they are mentioned that like a these types of that like a features also about the rainfall or that like a soil types or forest and that like a people spoken in that like a different languages in different areas, different different area. Example of that like a North India. We go to that like a North India. That yes, most of the people they spoke that like a Hindi there. We come to that like a in South India, based on that like a yes the region wise like a in Andhra Pradesh speak that like a Telugu there. Telangana spoke that like a Telugu there. Yes, we go to that like a Tamil Nadu. Yes, they are that like a speak that like a Tamil there. So like that the map makers they are that like a yes mentioned that like a real features and also distribution of the rainfall also right, distribution of rainfall how is that like a yes in we discussed that like in sister class also right, that like a coastal areas are that like a Rayalaseema areas. North of the Andhra Pradesh, south of the Andhra Pradesh are that like a yes, west of that like a Andhra Pradesh then. The distribution of rainfall also we show through that like a map. So that's why here the map makers they mention the real features while preparing yes maps also there. So this is it. And also, a map actually is a model of place giving those features that the map makers consider to be that like some important. And the photo may not be able to show you how much is that like a rainfall or places also there or like a soil also there, like this one also there. So where there is a photo, photos does not show J, does not shows about rainfall, about rainfall and languages, languages are that like a yes, these are not that like a we are find out there. Okay, but these are that we are finding that like a map pointing. Okay, where there is a yes like a here that photo may not be able to show you how much is that like a rainfall in a place that how hot get there is that like a what language yes people speak there, all these can be shown on a map. So that's why people make different kinds of that like maps depending upon the yes purpose. So here the map makers, the map makers mention mention different different features, different features mention mention in a map according to their Purpose, right? Like a based on the purpose, based on the based on the purpose. Okay, so this is the differences between map, photo. Photo does not to show that like any okay feature about that like languages, about that like a distribution of the rainfall, about that like a yes different spoken of that like a people also right. But in a map, we see that like a yes these features, but in map we are not find that like a yes trees also houses also right. Okay, so like that, so that is the differences between map and a photograph, map and photographs so that's why here the map makers they mentioned that like some of that like important features based on the purpose, now we have discussed that like maps in earlier maps also example of that like here down other the maps maps down is maps down is maps maps the down the is maps down the is particular period like a yes earlier period there how that like a people and which maps they are that like a follow that like a people also they either like a traveling from one area to another areas or that like a rainfall also or that like a people who are that like a spoken the different language right. So this are all. So the Downies maps have a long history behind them. Some of the earliest surviving maps were made by Sumerians. So first one, like Sumerians are that like prepare their maps, prepare their maps in earliest time, earliest time, earliest time. Maps were prepared, prepared by Sumerians. Sumerians. So these names also sound like a different side, but we don't know that. But actually today onwards that like a yes, this Sumerian also they called like a yes Iraq. What is it? Ah yes, Iraq guy. The people of Iraq. Today we call that like a Sumerians. Today we call that like a Sumerians. Yes, Iraq people. Iraq people there. First one, yes, they are that like a prepared that like a map also there. So that's why here they that like the earliest surviving maps were made by Sumerians. So about it like a 4,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago there. The maps are prepared by Sumerians. Sumerians. So this is that like a yes, that like a Sumerian clay tablet. Like here they are mentioned that yes map also like a inner there is a one and also here like this and like They mentioned it like a some yes symbols also that like a here right. So this is that like a Sumerians. This is the Sumerians clay tablet. Sumerians clay tablet. So this is all made by this map. Today we see that like these types of the map. It's a very funny purpose when we see that like these types of that like a map. Looking, oh, this is the map there. We are thinking about that. Generally, yes, we see that like a map also that is printed on that like a paper. But after leaching, but previously means that what is that 4,000 years ago, they Sumerians, they are that like a made these types of that like a maps also there with the help of clay. They are printed all that like a yes, they are that like a mentioned that like a yes according to their convenience what their purpose also they made the everything they are mentioned into that like a yes in this map also yes. So and also the Sumerians temples own the large tracts of the land and they had to keep that account of income from that like a land. That's why they try to keep that like a records of the lands with the help of that like a yes map side. So here previously in sixth class also that like we are land or seventh class also that like a land uses of the maps advantage of that like a map side. So here also Sumerians, particularly yes, all the lands also there. They are recorded. They are mentioned into that like these map also there. That's why these maps also, these land record also that they are kept in very carefully there. And also that like a lands also there. So how much land there? Even today there, yes, we have the land there. Compulsory we have a document or the printed paper also there. One book also there. So at the time there is no paper there. Just there that like make the map with the help of that like a clay day. They are printed that like these things also there. Land areas there, how much land that like a government there. So that income they are collected there from the lands also there. That's why they are keep the land records. Sumerians, Sumerians, they are Sumerians to capture land records, land records through that like a through the clay yes tablet tablet maps clay tablet yes maps are so this is also they are that like a keep very carefully that Sumerians. So they are that like a the lands also, temples also, places also. They are all there that like I mentioned into that like in these maps, right? And also they mentioned that like the large tracts of that land, and they had to keep that like a account of that like a income from that like a land side. So that's why they keep that like a these types of that like a map records, map records side. This one Babylonians. Babylonian. So here we are discuss about that like what is that? That the earliest maps were that like prepared by that Sumerians. So Sumerians also that like with the help of that like a clay, they made that like what is that? Yes, maps also there. Maps. Next one, Babylonians. 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 So these people also called that like a today we call that like a these people are that like a Babylonians. Babylonians. Today we call that like a yes these Babylonians, Babylonians call Iraq people, Iraq people, Iraq people. How is that like a some of that like a that Sumerians call that like a the present day, the present day. Surveying the maps are there. That like a, the present day that like a, the Sumerians are called that like a Iraq that, and like a Babylonians also the people of Iraq, the people of the people of Iraq there, the people of called it called the people of the people of Iraq. Okay, so this is also there. So here, what they how they that like prepared that maps also there made some of that like a earlier the world maps that what that like a world. Yes, they thought of it, say that the below of that like a such a map down on that like a clay tablet about that like a 2600 years ago. They imagined the world as a round disc. That the inner circle had that all the cities, small villages, rivers, marshes, mountain. They know about the so here, next one, like a Babylonians also that like a, they prepared that like a world map. Babylonians also they prepared it like a yes world map. Babylonians also they prepared the world map. Okay, so this is here. There is a like a something there that like a mentioned that, and like a, we find that like a inner there is a circle also there. Inside that like a this clay tablet, inside this uh, clay tablet we find circle, one circle, and also like a inside that like a this circle also there, inside that this circle also, yes, we find that like a some of the circles also there, some of the circles. So like this Babylonians prepared old map, prepared old map there. So after Sumerian, how that like a Sumerian they prepared that like a maps on a clay tablet there. They mentioned that like a land records, the land tracks also they are that like a mentioned into that like a clay tablet there. Next one, like a Babylonians also they prepared that world map. So this is the different to that like each other there, but these are not same. So this map also that like a different to that like a Babylonian map also different to that like a Sumerians. So they are mentioned that like a large tracts of that like a land in their map there, but Babylonians are that like they are mentioned that like a yes cities, villages, and lands also there. This is the difference between the Sumerians and Babylonians. Sumerians and Babylonians. So listen very carefully, Jay. So here, like these are also there, that the Lord, the big circle also there. Inside that like a circle, there is a small circles. Inside that like a small circle. So the small circles to represent to represent villages, sorry, cities, cities, villages, villages, villages. So here the villages, rivers and that like a marshlands, mountains, they are mentioned into the like a maps also. Yeah. marsh, land, rivers, and mountains. Mountains mention mention into map. Okay, so these are inside that like a this big circle also there. Like a yes, here also that these are that like a yes, here also we find that like a yes, river also right. These are that like a yes places. Like here also there is a mountains also there. Okay, that big circle. And inside that like a big circle there is a small circles. Like a yes, cities and villages, rivers, and marshes, and like a mountain. So what they know they. So after traveling, what I mentioned, the Babylonians once shown that like a middle, and the city of that like a Babylon was shown in that like a middle day. Beyond that like a inner circle, that like a bitter river or that like a salt water ocean, in which there was that like a silver triangle like islands also. Jai. So they mention like a mountains also, cities also, villages also, lands also, like a yes, islands also there. They mention into the map. And also one more thing, like here these Babylonians, they are thinking, yes, the world. How is it? It is a round disk there, according to the thoughts. According to yes, their thoughts. They are thinking world. It's look like a round disk. Look like a round disk. So around the okay. So this is that like a different maps. Sumerians, Babylonians. Sumerians, they represent the some features. Babylonians, they represent that like a yes, some another features also there. Next, map makers. Next, map makers. Right? Next, map makers. So, first one, Sumerians. Next one, Babylonians, they prepared that like a yes world maps. Okay, Babylonians to made that like a world map different than to that like a Sumerian. Now the Greek after Sumerians, Babylonians, Greeks also they prepared that like a world map. How they are that like a Sumerians they mentioned that like a what they are to know about that like a their place, that is also they are mentioned into that like a, their maps. Babylonians also that like a, they are mentioned into the what they know they about their places. That is also another features also some additional features also they are mentioned into Babylonians their maps. So around the same time, Greek geographers like Anaximander and Herodotus of Miletus in Turkey and as Herodotus also prepared that like a world map by arranging places from east to west and north to south. So another persons they are developed that like yes maps also there. Another person they are that like a mention to that another features while preparing maps also there. So next one, Greeks. Greeks also prepared prepared map, world map, prepared world map, prepared world map. So here the persons mainly here the Greek geographer, the Greek geographers, the Greek geographers, geographers like it. Anaximander. Anaximander. Anaximander is also that like the famous Greek geographer Anaximander and Herodotus, Tama, Herodotus, Hector, Herodotus of Miletus in Turkey, in Turkey, and also that like another person also that yes Herodotus and Herodotus, Herodotus. So these are the famous Anaximander, Herodotus are from Turkey, right? And also that like yes, Herodotus. These are that like the famous geographers. Yes, these are also to make that like a world map. These are also these are also prepared make world map world map. So here, when they prepared that like a world map, when they yes prepared that like a world map, they are arranging places. But previously, we are not find out that like yes Sumerians also they are not arranging that like exact places that like a north, east, west, south there, and that like that Babylonians also they are not mentioned. They are not arranging that like a places in that like yes maps like a north, south, or that like a east, west. So here the Greek geography they are arranging places. They are arranging places. They are world map. They are arranging places. Arranging places. Places from west other like yes east west east from east east to on the east to west east to west and north to north to south. So here, someone they are mentioned there. So some features also there that like adding into that like a world map also there. That like a Sumerian they are that like a make that like a, their own map there. Babylonians also they are made that like a own map there. That place also there. Their city also exactly the middle of that like their map also there. They are mentioned that like a villages or that like a different features also they are mentioned into that like a, their map. Laterly Greeks they are mentioned that like a, another feature means that like a, here they what they are that like a mentioned a arranging place like a east to west or that like a north to south. Today we find that like a, yes our map also right map side like a yes the top of that like a map there north side exactly the opposite of that like a yes north south there like a east right hand that like a exactly the opposite of that like a east west. So, like this way, that like they are prepared. The Greeks also that like yes, prepared arranging these places in the Yes, maps also. They are developing that like these types of that like yes, features also mentioned into that like map also, Jay. The ideas were similar to that like a Babylonians who believed that like a earth was a round surrounded by that like a ocean water. They travel widely and wrote down description of that land and the people and the like a history. They saw are that like a here about they prepared map based on that like a travel and like a description. So these people also they are traveling from place to place. Number of the places also they are visited. They are observing that like the history of the land and like the people, what type of that like languages they are spoken there. Like these are all that like they are observed after traveling complete after traveling completed what they are observing that like in the traveling day yes these are all they are mentioning today in their maps also right so they prepared maps based on that like these travels and like a description so these maps have not survived historian have tried to that like recreate them with the help of that like so here they are mentioned but this is not a complete stage laterly some of that like process also they come and they are mentioned to that like another features preparing that like a that beautiful like a yes map also there wool map also there previously we have discussed that for that like a role the regions the king or that like a queens or that like a emperors also there they give that like a instructions the persons also there yes prepare that like a maps also there for the purpose of that like a attack that like a new places also there and like to take that like a natural resources from their places also there that is the purpose they are that like a preparing maps so in order to help that like a sailors the maps also had to be that like a accurate. The Greeks tried to make the maps accurate with the help of that like a longitude and a latitude. Let us see that how they was done. So here they and how they are mentioned arranged that like a places east to west, east to west or that like a north to south. And one more important thing. One more important thing. Laterly, when you go to that like higher classes, you learn about that like yes latitudes. What is the importance of that latitudes and longitude also? Right? What is the use of that like latitudes and longitude? What purpose that map maker they are mentioned that like these lines vertically lines are that like horizontal lines. So here Greeks, they are mentioned latitudes and longitudes. This is also another real features. When they prepare that like a map, a world map, when they are prepared that like a world map, the map make us accurate, accurately with the help of that like a longitudes and latitudes. The Greeks try to make the map. The Greeks make accurate map with help of longitude, longitude and a latitude. So here in previous classes we know about the like a latitude, longitude. We are easily identify that like a map places also there. We are locate that like a places also there. We are travel easily in correct direction way also there. That is the purpose. They are mentioned that like a longitudes on that like a globe also there. Latitudes on that like a yes globe or that like a yes maps also there. Same that like a Greeks also they prepared. They are mentioned these one day. They try to find out that like a set of places where the midday occurred occurred. They tried find out set of that like a places where the midday occurred at that like a same time. They were joined with the line from the north to south. This was that like a yes meridian or that like a longitude. So the Greeks also when they are that like prepared that like a map also there. They said that like a places also there. They draw that like a yes. They draw they draw the they draw line from north to north to south. North to yes south. So this is also called that like a 0 degree longitude. 0 degree longitude on that like a what is that 0 degree longitude or meridian. This is also called that like a meridian. Okay, so in later class also we have discussed that why they are draw that like these lines also what purpose they are that like yes these line also that like to draw the north to south that in a map also right that is also later the British is also there that like they mentioned these lines also because of that at the time the British side they are that role yes most of that like a world also there so that like the British also where they are spread there, yes, everyone they are follow that like the time here only there. That's why they mentioned that like these 0 degree longitude. This is also called that like a yes meridian or that like a Greenwich say. So here the places which had that like a equal they also try to draw that like a latitudes, the joining places which is that like a equal length, right? How is that like a they join that like a the north to south also line also there. Next one they draw that like a yes west to east. West to yes east. They draw that like a circle side. 0 degree to that like a 90 degrees north pole there. And full circles they draw that like a 0 degree to that like a 90 degrees of south pole there. So in this way, they mention longitudes and latitudes on a map there. For the purpose of easily identify travel correct direction purpose reach that like a place okay within the time day within the time day so with the help of these two kinds of that like a line that they grid on that like a map and locate all the places from that like a east to west and north to south along that like a these line also Jay. So what purpose they are that like a to draw that like a latitudes and that like a longitudes say for the purpose of identify that like a places also mention that like a east to west what type of that like a places also there what are the places in that like a east to west and like what are the places in north to south easily identification purpose they are mentioned these lines when they are preparing yes map also there by who are they like Greeks also there. So, like Sumerians, Babylonians, step by step, the map developmental there. Some additional features also they are mentioned there. Okay, so what they know about that, like the particular places also there. Okay, so here they that Greeks they the preparing these lines accurately was not an easy task, and it took about that like 2,000 years to finally get that like a correct latitudes and longitudes. But locating places on a map with the help of these two lines became a very useful for that like a travelers, sailors who could orient that like a direction of their travel to their destination, and the sailors in turn help at that like a map makers that like a telling about that like a places there we say so here previously so after that like a Babylonians 2000 years ago there to draw that like a exactly accurately latitudes and longitude. It is not a easy task, but today we draw that like a easily. These lines also there, longitudes and latitudes. But the present shape of that like a this world map, these lines also there. Today, how they are that like a, we draw that like a lines on that like a glove or that like a maps also there. Behind these lines, there is a long history. There is a long time also there. There is a long time after what is that? 2000 years ago there. It take a long time to draw that like a correct or exactly latitudes and longitudes drawn that like a maps also there. Drawn a map there. So today they yes we follow that like these lines also there. Okay, what purpose they are they? They draw that like these lines traveling purpose, sailor purpose, and like a visiting purpose. Okay, there is a number of the uses these lines. So many uses with the help of latitudes and longitudes. Latitudes and longitudes. Okay, three persons. First one, Sumerians. They prepared the maps. They developed the maps world. Something they are mentioned there. Middle of the city there. Next one, Babylonians. Okay, the people of that like Iraq there. They are also to prepare that like a world map. They are mentioned that like Iraq, exactly the middle of that like a world map. They are developed that like a another feature. They are mentioned that like another feature there. Next one, the Greeks. Who are they? Yes, the Greeks also they are that like a mentioned a some additional feature. Especially like a yes, today we use that like a, this one also there. West to east, north to south, latitudes, longitude. Without latitudes and longitudes, we don't any place. We are not reached that like any place also. It's take a long time. Time delay also there. We are not reached that like a correctly position also there. When we know that like these information about the latitudes and longitudes, we are easily to reach the places, exact places. This is a advantages are that like a useful of these lines. Useful of these lines. Next one, the person. Next person, like a next person told me after after Sumerians, after Sumerians, Babylonians, next Greeks. What is that? Yes, Greeks. You know very well about that, like the great king, the great Alexander, the king Alexander, he conquered that like a most of that like a world also. How it is possible? They yes, with the help of that like a maps also there. With the help of maps, they give that like a they follow the directions, they follow that like a, what is that? Yes, maps also they in this way they. Next one. So after like a these persons next day, tomorrow. Okay, next one. Ptolemy was one of the like a most famous geographers of that like a ancient world, who prepared that like a detailed map of that like a world using these lines. However, these maps were all lost a long time ago. They next one. Chalmi. Rajay. Yes, Chalmi also one of that like a person is also making that like a Chalmi. Chalmi was one of the most famous geographer of that like a ancient world. One of the most famous one of the most Ptolemy was that one of that like a most world geographer geo yes, the famous Ptolemy was that one of that like a most famous geographer, most famous geographer. So what his speciality is it? And like a yes, he is also to make it like a world map. He also making world map, a world map. How that like a Sumerians they made that like a world map also. That how they are that like a Babylonians are that like a yes Greeks. Literally Ptolemy. He's also one of that like a famous geographer. Yes, he's also that like a prepare. What is that? Detail map. Making that like a what is that? Detail map. Making detail detail world map. Okay. So here that he mentioned that like he is also using that like a how that like Greeks also they are using that like a latitudes and longitudes. Latitudes and longitude. Yes, told me also to mention in his map day. He is also mention longitudes, longitudes and latitudes, latitudes while preparing preparing world map, world map. He is also that like a developer. He is also that like a mention. Means that like a what is a detailed map. What is a yes? What is our lesson title? Reading and analysis of map. Now we are to learn thoroughly the map also there. Thoroughly we are learn that like the detailed maps also there. The detailed maps what that like making maps like that. So you may like you may have that like a notice that the most of these maps given that like a more correct information of Europe and a nearby that like a yes countries. In fact, they usually places that like a Greece and Rome in that like a middle of the map. They also give that like a more correct information about the places visited by sailors and traders on the coast of the like various countries. So here the Greeks also there. So how is that like a the Greeks they make that like a maps also there. Next one that like a Ptolemy also he made that like a that detailed world map. Detail yes world map there. And like if you notice the correct information, correct information there is also to mention that like a yes Europe and that like a nearby that like a yes country also there. And the middle of that like a this one Greece and yes Rome also there. They mention Rome exactly middle of that like a yes world map like that as he prepared that like a maps also there. And everybody there follow that and also they won't give that like a correct information about it that like what they are previously what they are places also visited exactly correct information they mention correct information they given to that like hey these maps also there. So traders also they are using the different countries many traders also they are visited that like these coastal areas also there for the purpose of trading with that like other country people. They how they come to that like these places with the help of yes, this detailed map also there. They visit coastal areas. They studying trading with that like a local people. That's on the map. Asia you can see and then it shows smaller and like a Sri Lanka as that like a sailors world. Not familiar with the for example like here the when we see that like a this one the coast of that like a various countries but they did not know about that like a yes interior part the sailors who are that like visited that like in new places right visit that like a new places. Only coastal areas they know that, but they don't know interior part of that like a world or interior part of that like a yes country. Jay. In this class we are landed. Why that like a Africa continent is that a block continent? Jay? Even today that like a we don't know about that like a, the interior part. That's why they call the Asian continent is called that like a dark continent. At the time, the sailors also they know only coastal areas, but they don't know about that like a interior part of countries, interior part of that like a that places also there. Next, these books are that like a Ptolemy are used by the Arab sailor. These books are that like a Ptolemy were used by that like a Arab sailors and that like the sailors also prepared that like a map. One famous Arab maker was A1 Idrisi who prepared that like the world map for his king 1154 day. So after Ptolemy day, the Arab map maker, Arab maker, map maker A1S Idrisi. A1 yes Idrisi. He is also that like a prepare the world map. He prepared world map for his king purpose 1154 J for his king purpose. Prepared that like a world map for his king purpose 1154. So kings also they give the instruction to that like the persons who are the scholars living there like their countries also, their regions also, their kingdoms also, their empires also. Yes, they give the instruction. Prepare like a map also. Prepare. Yes, map after that like a traveling. Here also that like A1 address. Here also that like yes, we prepared that like a world map. 1154. The map with that like a lessons written in that like a Arabic while showing that like a Eurasian continent fully shown only that like a northern part of that like a African continent and that like a that lacks details of that like a southern Africa and that like a Southeast Asia. Jay. How is that like a one by one they prepared that like a maps also. Jay. So even Idrisi also he is also that like the Arab map maker. He is also that like a prepared that like a world map also. But what things he is mentioned in his map there? He is also that like a mentioned in his map there. Eurasian country, Eurasian continent fully there. Eurasian continent fully fully he mentioned it. Eurasian continent fully mentioned it, and also only the north part of that like a African continent only the north, northern part of northern part of Africa continent, Africa continent, Africa continent, and lack of details of that like a southern Africa and like a southeast. Okay, so like this, even Idrisi, he prepared. He mentioned fully of that like a yes, Europe and Asia, Eurasian continent fully right. And also he mentioned that like a some part, the northern part of Africa, and like a yes, there is a the lacks detail, the continent and that like a lacks details of that like a southern Africa and that like a Southeast Asia. There are many interesting things about that like this map. Firstly, he shown that like a south toward the top of that like a map. And the north towards the like a bottom, it places Arabia permanently in that like a center of that map there. How is that like a previous person they map that like a world map also they mentioned that like a their country in the middle of that like a map. Same that like a yes he is also prepared that like a world map that Arabia is exactly the middle of that like a yes world map. Whole map. And also one more thing. Today we are that like a was a the for example that like the map jai. Okay, the map. What is the north? The top of that like a map north direction. Bottom portion is that like a south direction jai. Right side it is the east direction. West that like a left hand jai. But here, but Idrisi he mentioned north is that like a bottom portion, south is that like a top portion there. Okay, when he is prepared that like a yes map, the directions are so there north, south, east, west, like the south towards that like at the top of that like a map, the north towards that like a bottom. Okay, like so and top south direction, or that like a yes bottom north. North. So, like this, even Idrisi, we prepared, and also Arab. Arab is middle of middle of whole map. Whole map. So, like that, A1 Idrisi to prepare that like a whole map also there. And also he mentioned it like a lesson, very well about that like a lesson day. What things we are mentioning to that like a map pointing. Yes, those are called that like a yes lessons. About the index. Index also that to call that like a yes lessons. And around the same time of that like a I say after that like a yes Arabs. Around the same time, Chinese too were that like a preparing maps as their emperors wanted to know about that like a villages and towns under their control. These maps shown on that like a China at the center of that like a center and that like a Europe. Halfway around that like a globe depicted very small and that like a horizontal compressed at that like a edges, and significantly Africa was also that like a mapped from an Indian Ocean perspective, showing that like a Cape of Good Hope area. So, like here after that, like that Arab map maker jai. Chinese also there. Chinese also they make that like a one map for their king purpose. The emperor purpose. So how much area are under control that how many people that how much lands that how many areas under our control there. So that is also there. How do you know that? Yes, that is also that like a yes with the help of that is the purpose. Chinese also. They made world map. And China also center of that like a world also there. China also center of these maps shown that like a China at the center and that like a Europe also there. Previously, the country that exactly the middle of that like a world map. But Chinese are there mentioned that like a China and Europe also they are mentioned into that like a world map. Exactly center of the world map. And also they are mentioned that like a some of the places also that like a Africa and that like a where is it? That the Cape of Good Hope. Cape of Good Hope places like this way. And so here that that showing that like a Cape of Good Hope area, which Europeans would not visit that like until much later. See the map of that like the Da Ming Hum E2 painted on that like a 17 square kilometers of that like a skill on 1389 for that like emperor of China there. Okay, one person and like a during that like a yes that the emperors the emperors when they are ruled that like a China there. The person damning 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 Han E Han two. When we listen that like these names also, it is a funny day. Our names are that like a China names, some that like other country names also. It is too different. When we spell that like a these word also, when we speak that like a these word also, that like a some difficult. It's a very funny day. They script also that like a different also day. So here in that like a 1389 1300 yes 89 that like a damning home today prepared it like a world map. So how is prepared that? That Babylonian Sumerians also they use that like a what is that clay tablets. On the clay tablet they prepared that like a map also there. The Chinese also they printed on that like a what is that world map 17 what is that 17 square kilometers 17 square sorry what is it 17 square meters not kilometers 17 square meters of that like a silk cloth they printed what is it there that like a yes painted all that like a yes places also there who are that like a prepared that like a day Chinese that world map also there damning honey today 1389 he prepared it like a world map for his emperor purpose for his emperor purpose so before they discovered that like a books of that like a Ptolemy before they discovered that like a Ptolemy European map makers were greatly influenced by the religious ideas of that like a Bible and made the maps of that like a whole to represent that like a those ideas. So tomorrow we have that like a yes discuss so after that one day.